Boo, Tinubu, balaboo, balaboo. You know why they laugh? Nigerians say, I swear to God, all of them go learn before 2027. A president is declaring state of emergency in the south, more specifically Rivers State, a state where there is no unrest, people are not being killed or kidnapped, nothing of sort, but because there are issues between the governor and an appointee of the president is siding with an appointee to suspend a democratically elected governor and the vice with the guise of state of emergency. Let me just say this to people watching this video. You will all learn the hard way. Many of you will always tell people from the southeast, go and meet your people that are employed that you voted in, meet your senators, meet this one, meet that one. Let them make things to work for you. This is my president when they vote for so. They suspend sitting governor that was also elected just like him. Say none of this make they go meet they do things for Nigeria. Everybody go learn, I swear. Una go learn. In the north, where there are killings, kidnappings, insecurity, bubuya, no single state of emergency has been declared in any part of northern Nigeria. But a rich river state from it. You see, let me tell you something there. Let me tell you, you see, South people, you people must be one of the foolishest, or let me use English. You guys are very foolish. Many of you on the social media space. Now you guys can learn. You are learning now. I've always advocated for one thing. We should come together. When I say no, Benin they one corner. Southeast they one corner. Of course, Southeast is not part of South, according to some Igbophobia people. South, they one corner. And go touch everybody for that South if we don't come together and fight this government. You can see what is happening. You can see insecurity in the north, but there is no state of emergency there. One small problem happened between the sitting government that was elected by people. The president came out to declare state of emergency. Anyway, many of us saw it coming anyway. It's just a matter of time. I will not make this video long. Peace out.
President Bola Tinubu, yesterday, wielded the big stick to resolve the 2-year political crisis ravaging Rivers State by declaring a state of emergency. In a 1,003-word nationwide broadcast, the president suspended the governor, Siminalayi Fubara, his deputy, Professor Ngozi Odiyu, and members of the State House of Assembly for 6 months. He appointed former Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Iboket Ibas, RETD, as administrator, and the appointment is subject to the confirmation of the National Assembly. Vanguard exclusively reported yesterday that a neutral person could be appointed to administer the state as a solution to the lingering problem. With the development, Rivers has become the 6th state, after Plateau, Ekiti, Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa, to witness state of emergency since the return of democratic rule in 1999. Also, Rivers became the 3rd state after Plateau and Ekiti to have their governors, deputies, and legislators suspended during the emergency rule. Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa states' governors were in the saddle during the emergency rule in the 3 states. Declaring the state of emergency yesterday, Tinubu said, "Fellow Nigerians, I feel greatly disturbed at the turn we have come to regarding the political crisis in Rivers State. Like many of you, I have watched with concern the development, with the hope that the parties involved would allow good sense to prevail at the soonest. But all that hope burned out without any solution to the crisis. With the crisis persisting, there is no way democratic governance, which we have all fought and worked for over the years, can thrive in a way that will redound to the benefit of the good people of the state. The state has been at a standstill since the crisis started, with the good people of the state not being able to have access to the dividends of democracy. Also, it is public knowledge that the governor of Rivers State, for unjustifiable reasons, demolished the House of Assembly of the state as far back as December 13, 2023, and has, up until now, 14 months after, not rebuilt same. I have made personal interventions between the contending parties for a peaceful resolution of the crisis, but my efforts have been largely ignored by the parties to the crisis. I am also aware that many well-meaning Nigerians, leaders of thought and patriotic groups, have also intervened at various times with the best of intentions to resolve the matter, but all their efforts were also to no avail. Still, I thank them. On February 28, 2025, the Supreme Court, in a judgment in respect of about 8 consolidated appeals concerning the political crisis in Rivers State, based on several grave unconstitutional acts and disregard of rule of law that have been committed by the governor of Rivers State as shown by the evidence before it, pronounced in very clear terms. A government cannot be said to exist without one of the 3 arms that make up the government of a state under the 1999 Constitution as amended. In this case, the head of the executive arm of government has chosen to collapse the legislature to enable him govern without the legislature as a despot. As it is, there is no government in Rivers State. The above pronouncement came after a catalog of judicial findings of constitutional breaches against Governor Siminalayi Fubara. Going forward in their judgment, and having found and held that 27 members of the House who had allegedly defected are still valid members of Rivers State House of Assembly and cannot be prevented from participating in the proceedings of that House by the 8th respondent, that is, the governor, in cohorts with 4 members. The Supreme Court then made some orders to restore the state to immediate constitutional democracy. These orders include the immediate passing of an appropriation bill by the Rivers State House of Assembly which up till now has not been facilitated. Some militants had threatened fire and brimstone against their perceived enemy of the governor who has up till now not disowned them. Apart from that, both the House and the governor have not been able to work together. Both of them do not realize that they are in office to work together for the peace and good governance of the state. The latest security reports made available to me show that between yesterday and today, there have been disturbing incidents of vandalization of pipelines by some militant without the governor taking any action to curtail them. I have, of course, given stern orders to the security agencies to ensure safety of lives of the good people of Rivers State and the oil pipelines. With all these and many more, no good and responsible president will stand by and allow the grave situation to continue without taking remedial steps prescribed by the Constitution to address the situation in the state, which no doubt requires extraordinary measures to restore good governance, peace, order, and security. In the circumstance, having soberly reflected on and evaluated the political situation in Rivers State and the governor and deputy governor of Rivers State, having failed to make a request to me as president to issue this proclamation as required by Section 3055 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, it has become inevitably compelling for me to invoke the provision of Section 305 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended, to declare a state of emergency in Rivers State with effect from today, yesterday, March 18, 2025, and I so do. By this declaration, the governor of Rivers State, Mr. Siminalayi Fubara, his deputy, Mrs. Ngozi Odiyu, and all elected members of the House of Assembly of Rivers State are hereby suspended for an initial period of 6 months. In the meantime, I hereby nominate Vice Admiral Iboket Ibas, RETD, as administrator to take charge of the affairs of the state in the interest of the good people of Rivers State. For the avoidance of doubt, this declaration does not affect the judicial arm of Rivers State, which shall continue to function in accordance with their constitutional mandate. The administrator will not make any new laws. He will, however, be free to formulate regulations as may be found necessary to do his job, but such regulations will need to be considered and approved by the Federal Executive Council and promulgated by the President for the state. This declaration has been published in the Federal Gazette, a copy of which has been forwarded to the National Assembly in accordance with the Constitution. It is my fervent hope that this inevitable intervention will help to restore peace and order in Rivers State by awakening all the contenders to the constitutional imperatives binding on all political players in Rivers State in particular and Nigeria as a whole. Lawyers Atiku, George, Others Fault Declaration. President Bola Tinubu's declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State yesterday drew the ire of senior lawyers and political stakeholders who described the development unacceptable. They include human rights activist Mr. Eben Adigborowa, SAN, Kunaladuin, SAN, Evans Ufuli, 2023 presidential candidate of People's Democratic Party, PDP, Atiku Abubakar, and former deputy national chairman of the PDP, Chief Olabo George. It's premeditated, part of a script. Adigborowa. Reacting to the development yesterday, Mr. Eben Adigborowa, SAN, said the state of emergency was uncalled for, adding that there was no basis for the president's decision. His words, "It is uncalled for, there is no basis for the declaration of a state of emergency because some issues have already been resolved by the Supreme Court while others are being looked into." Looking at the facts, the state of emergency is premeditated and part of a script. In Osun State, there is crisis over local government issues and no state of emergency has been declared. The same thing in Benue State where there is crisis between the executive and judiciary, no state of emergency has been declared. In Lagos State where you had 2 speakers, no state of emergency has been declared. There is no basis for it and I urge the president to rescind his decision and allow democracy to work in Rivers State. This is not to support the governor or the minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, but the state of emergency is uncalled for. Stay tuned for more updates, stay safe, and have a blessed day.